Welcome back to another Share Your Light episode. I absolutely love having the opportunity to share these incredible people that cross my path with all of you because I think that's what we're working at right now is finding a way to come together in community and really highlight each other, help each other step up a little bit, find one another who may resonate with where we are in our own path or help us open a door to something that we're interested in. And today, so lucky and blessed to share with you Lorri McCafferty. Lorri is an intuitive healer who provides several healing modalities, including but not limited to tarot readings, crystal healing, and Reiki. Lorri shares her light through teaching people how to connect and communicate with their spirit guides, how to ground heaven into earth, and how to create a sacred space via the practices of chakra clearing, crystal work, sound healing, and sacred scents. Through this work, a person can clear their aura as well as their environments, enabling them to maintain a connection with higher frequencies. Lori's passion for healing inspired her to create sacred products of light, where you can find a variety of Lori's handcrafted crystal jewelry, wands, and an assortment of tools that fit your personal environmental vibration. All products are cleansed and cleared, then infused with intentions of divine love, light, healing, and joy, ending with receiving a Reiki attunement. In this way, each product will forever hold within it Reiki light and Reiki healing energy. All intentions and energies are to be integrated into the user wearer for only their highest and greatest good, always. And a little bit later, we'll share where you can find Lorri. But for now, welcome, Lorri. Thank you so much for coming on with me today.
Thank you, Denise, for having me.
I'm really excited because I've been blessed to receive some of your things. You gifted me with a wand and some jewelry, and it has really good juju. I mean, you just feel the vibration. And one of the things that you mentioned in your bio is you see yourself as a healer. So could you explain that a little bit to folks that are listening, please? Why that word? Why do you choose to call yourself a healer?
Well, I choose to call myself a healer because when I'm working with somebody, no matter what it is that I'm doing, whether I'm reading the tarot or I'm actually given a Reiki session, or you've purchased a piece of the jewelry or a item that you can bring into your home, it's all infused with healing. And that's the intention. So with Reiki, you get this universal life force energy. And that helps you create a space inside of yourself and outside of yourself where your body can actually do what it's supposed to do, which is heal itself. And we have all of these frequencies that scramble our frequency, right? We're living in a day where we're so polluted. We have all of these electronic things in our home. It kind of scrambles our frequency and it stops our body from being able to do what it was actually made to do, which is heal itself. And so when you're putting the Reiki into, channeling that Reiki through into things, you're creating a vibration that creates the ability for your body to do what it needs to do or what it wants to do. You can't do any harm with it. There's no harm with Reiki. You can't do any harm with it. And it just knows where it needs to flow. And it just goes to where it needs to go the most at that time. But it's really you doing the healing. It's you doing the healing on yourself via with the help of this energy.
See, I always love to look at it. It comes through us, not from us. And you have such a clear conduit to spirit, to that healing energy. And when you speak of Reiki, I can tell this is near and dear to your heart. I always say, I've said it before in the past, that Reiki is kind of a gateway drug to open up to so many different other modalities.
It
But
really is.
for you, I can feel that passion. And I love the description that you gave about how it comes through and and the word that came into my mind was it can be, the healing can almost be regenerative. So
Yeah.
you may have something that is long term or toxic. And right now, a lot of people are coming in or are incarnate with, I'm going to end that I'm working on my ancestral healing. I'm going to break those cyclical patterns. Have you seen a shift in the people that you're working with over the last few years as the world seems to be going through transition?
Oh boy, have I ever. And it's really nice. The people that are seeking people like me out understand they're here doing something more than what they thought they were doing a few years back. They're starting to understand all on their own without encouragement that they are breaking those karmic cycles, that the patterns that they tend to keep seeing in their own life, they understand, keep coming back around and back around and back around until they learn to do something different. And they're also understanding that their frequency is part of what's attracting it. So they're working on their frequencies, which is why they're finding people like me so that, they can get that extra boost, help cleanse them, clear them, start doing some detoxing, find some tools to bring into their life that can lift their vibration, make them feel better. It's really exciting, honestly. It's exciting.
It is. I heard this the other day. I was reading something, and the man's name is Peter Woodbury, and I've taken some classes with him. And he said that we're all, and I love, love, love this description, because he said, you don't go down a path and all the lights aren't clumped together. And as each of us step more into our vibration and raise our vibration and shine our light a little bit higher, we may feel alone, we may feel isolated, we may feel lonely. But what we're doing is radiating that out to make this network, to make this connection with other people. And it is healing ourselves, the planet, each other, but we're building this spiritual community. And I think that's a big part of your work as well, is integrating you. We met when you had me come to the Common Ground Fair in Maine and do some platform work. And could you talk about that? Because that's a really cool thing that you and your people do.
Yeah, so there's the Common Ground Fair in Maine, and it takes place every year in the fall. And we have a whole life section down in that area where we have different people come in. They teach you how to douse. They teach you, there's animal communicators and like yourself, mediums.
Mhm.
And then there's the Reiki tent where Reiki practitioners volunteer to just give healings for free experiences all day long. And there's just so many different people that come through that whole life tent teaching people about spirituality. There's sound healing. It is just amazing. Such a high vibrational space.
Yeah.
Everybody that comes is in that love frequency, wanting to do, wanting to help, wanting to teach other people how they can get themselves on track. It's just really nice. We were looking around, feeling around, and I just felt like you were the one. And I really hoped that when I called you, that I would be able to entice you to come and share some of what you do with people there.
Right.
And you were
And
just so loved. You were so loved and welcome.
yeah, but that gave not my forte to do platform. But anyway, what's really cool about this, thank you very much, because I think there was something bigger at play that got my ass up in front of people, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I feel like when you go there, and the whole fair itself is all holistic and organic, and it's a beautiful, beautiful atmosphere. It's been there for decades now.
Yeah.
But I remember walking up to the tent and just feeling this vibration, feeling this energy, and everyone was peaceful and calm, and it was bringing in such a variety of people. And I think that transfers to what you do in your personal work. You're not just looking for, oh, you're airy fairy woo woo and you get this. You reach
Right.
out to everyone.
Yeah.
And I think that is so, so, so damn incredible. So when you're I'm going to jump the fence to something else, and I know we're kind of wired the same, so I can jump around. When you're working with the crystal, so if I called you and said, I want you to design this, or I need this stone, do you feel a vibration with specific stones? Because you mentioned crystal healing as well.
Yeah. So different crystals hold different vibrations and different healing properties, right? You can never get a bad crystal. So it doesn't matter. Like all crystals have this like a higher frequency. And I believe they were put here to help us as a tool, with our own
I agree.
vibration and our own frequencies. So if someone were to message me and say, or call me and say, I'm having trouble with this or that, what type of crystal would you refer me to? I could help them with that. What crystals might work the best for them for their situation. Like, I think, this is just me. but I feel like everybody should own rose quartz. Put it in
Yeah.
your pocket if you're a guy. Carry it with you. I really believe that we're living in a day where we've been taught not to be prideful. We've been taught to think less of ourselves and more of others. It's not just a woman thing, it's a man thing too. We
The
all need to
person thing,
self-love.
right?
Yeah.
Just a person thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that we've been taught wrong, and that in order to live a good life, we have to love ourselves. And in order to be able to love anybody else well, we have to know how to love ourselves. To love anything well, we have to know how to love ourselves. And that's been trampled out of us.
Yeah.
It's been trampled out of us, and not many people really know. In fact, most people don't think much of themselves.
And
So,
especially a lot of folks that are in our audience are very sensitive, highly intuitive, very empathic people who have had a lot of trials and tribulations and challenges when they have been exposed that they're very sensitive. I'm a big fan of rose quartz. I love rose quartz.
yeah, I don't think you can have enough of it. Throw it in every room, put it under your pillow, stick it in your bra, stick it in your pocket,
Yeah,
take a
but
bath with it.
don't you find though that it's love? It's really about love. It's frequency, it's vibration. I agree with you 100%. So many people right now are saying, I need to accept who I am here and now and move forward from this so that, but it seems like it's part of this whole shift and transition the world is in right now.
Yeah.
I say this on and on and on about the divide getting stronger, but I really, really feel in my heart that more of us are stepping up and saying enough is enough. We're not buying into it. We're not going to throw fuel on the fire. We're going to come from this place of love and peace and contentment to share that with each other.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
if
And shift the perspective. Love
100%,
love heals everything. It's the highest vibration there is.
yeah,
So if we can love ourselves and learn to open our hearts and understand that it's safe for us, because yeah, trauma causes us to want to close that off, right? It doesn't protect us to close that off, because we're still
no,
able to get hurt. So all it does is it stops us from being able to experience the wonderful things in the world while still getting hurt.
so it's interesting is the older I get, the more you look around, the more people you talk to. I think that's one of our life lessons. I think it's on the checklist that we come in with of
Yeah.
are you going to find contentment with who you are and why you're on the planet and just find some way to take care of that person and love them the way you love other people. I
Yeah.
think that's a huge part of why we're here.
Give yourself what you'd give your child.
Yeah,
You wouldn't treat most parents, good parents, wouldn't have their child come in devastated and hurt and then degrade them for
right.
having feelings. But we do that to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, we
We
do. And it is, I think for many of us, it's a learning curve. And to rewrite the tapes in our head that we were either gifted or we brought over from another lifetime or we were, programmed with, but it's never too late. It is
No,
absolutely never too late. And I
right.
think your work as a healer, as a creator, and again, jumping around, but when I was looking at something you had sent me and the intricacy of the wire wrapping, and I was thinking it must almost be meditative for you when you're working on your products because it's very detailed. It's very, there's almost an elegance to some of it because it's just so. Do you find it meditative to do the wire wrapping?
It's really channeled and guided. So everything that I'm doing has been divinely guided. I, years ago, always wanted to have a metaphysical shop, but I never
Mhm.
thought that I'd be creating the things in it. I mean, as a kid, I wanted one, right?
Yeah.
But we heard things like, that's not a safe plan and that's not practical. And go get yourself an office job where you'll actually make some money.
Mhm.
So, but I'd never envisioned myself creating the products that go in. Well, because I was just a kid. But
Yeah.
I would go and I would see this beautiful handmade, handcrafted jewelry, and I would think, I wish I could do that. And one day after doing some self-healing, actually, and some meditation, I came out and I looked at my stones that were on the table. And this is after I had started doing some art projects because I had taken a class where a project was needed at the end of it. And I thought to myself, I've got some beading wire. I wonder if I could wrap one of those crystals. And I just sat down and did it, and it flowed out of me. It's not me. It isn't, it comes, it comes, it comes through me and then out of me. And it just, it just happened. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh my goodness. So I snapshotted a picture of that and I sent it to my boyfriend, and I said, look at what I just did. And he was like, oh my gosh. And I loved doing it. It feels very healing to me. Yes, meditative, very healing. And then because I channel the energy to put into it, passionate about it. Really, with me, it's all things healing. And that's my
Right.
passion. So,
That's a really, really good point, Lori, because I think a lot of times people will look at channeled, oh, I'm channeling Reiki through me, or I'm a writer, or I'm a musician, or I'm doing something with that. But you just gave the perfect example of you can bring that healing energy, that collaboration with spirit through anything that you're going to do. And it holds that, but it's your expression of your light in combination with spirit, which
yeah.
is I think what so many people are looking for is what's my thing. Interesting, because that's that old loop take so many of us have heard of: get a real job. This isn't going to pay your bills. That's ridiculous. That's not a good business plan, whatever it might be. But I've noticed lately so many people are feeling this nudge, this call to really step into a service-based business that is a healing modality or being of service to spirit. But I'm also seeing the duality in that as well, is some people are ready to open their heart. How can I help? How can I be of service? And there's almost that little dark tinge off to the side. So what could you give as advice or encouragement for people that are looking for a service-based business of healing or metaphysics or spirituality?
Heal yourself, heal the world, right?
Oh,
So,
love that.
so love yourself enough to know that you're worthy of doing it first.
Mhm.
And then all of that other stuff will go away. It takes balls. I mean, it does.
It does.
And you're not going to find those anywhere near you until you accept yourself and love yourself. It's because you're gonna like, okay, so there's me. I grew up in this small town. My roots are here. I mean, I grew up with my neighbors. So this stuff, all of this inside of me was my biggest kept secret.
Mhm.
My spirituality, my belief systems, the things that I find passion in, talking with spirit. I didn't tell my redneck friends about that. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You had to be like really some damn close to me to know that about me.
Yeah.
You have this little voice that's telling you all the time, people will think you're crazy.
Mhm.
Oh, you're just Denise. You're just Lori. Who do you
Yes.
think you are?
100%.
Yeah. So you really have to get past that hurdle. And I think once you do that, the rest just kind of falls into place, because then the universe sees that you're ready and you're willing to take that step, regardless of who thinks what about you. It's not about who's going to disapprove. It's about who you can help and how you approve of yourself.
See, that I love, love, love that. And not just because it's my philosophy as well, but because I can feel the truth that you're saying behind that. And again, so many people don't feel comfortable letting people know who they are, what they really believe, what they think. One of the things I tell folks a lot that are looking at this is, if you have this passion, and not the damn do what you love and the money will follow, because that's kind of not true. That's
No, it isn't.
no, but there's, if you have that passion of, I know I'm here to do something more, and you have the work ethic, because I don't think I'm just going to sit and scroll my phone and wait for people to show up at my door. But for me, the key piece in all of this work is how can I help? How can I be of service? And when we make it about service, it isn't, you said it beautifully a few minutes ago, it isn't about us. It really isn't. We're the conduit, or but if I ever get too caught up in the business side or the financial side or any of that, it tanks. It
Yeah.
absolutely tanks. And do you
Yeah.
find the same thing?
Yeah. If you start to worry, especially like if you start worrying, like, geez, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay the light bill. I don't know if I'm
Hmm.
going to be able to do this or that. It really will take. It really
Yeah,
will. You have to stay in flow, and that means trusting, and that's not always easy because we've been programmed really not trust in the universe to deliver what it is. But this is the thing, if you're authentic and you really want to help people, the universe is going to help them find you.
100%.
And they're going to be the right fit for you. So I know people that I think do a great job, and they're gentle. They're gentle.
Hmm.
And people that need that delicacy will find them, right? Now, with me, I don't know. I can be gentle, and I usually can tell when somebody needs that little gentle touch. If I see you hating on yourself, I'm going to say, listen, these are all the reasons why you're your own worst enemy right now. I'm very outspoken.
You're very true, Lori. You're very true. You don't have a phony bone in your body, but
I
it
don't,
is never, ever, ever. I've never spoken to you where it isn't coming from a place of kindness.
yeah, I want to light that fire under your butt so that you recognize how worthy you are, and so that you understand that you're divine and you're magical, and all of these things that you've been taught that you're not are lies, and it's just keeping you small.
So, how, especially during these times, what I'm finding is I love what I do. I feel so lucky. I get up in the morning and say, I don't have to do this. I get to do this, which is
Yeah.
totally different mindset, especially if you've had to survive at any point in your life. But what are you doing to take care of yourself, to refill your own coffers, to make sure that you're staying a clear conduit for spirit?
Well, I self heal every day.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm blessed. All I have to do is just activate my hands, lay them on me, and so I give myself Reiki all the time, all the time. It's like I'm an addict. I'm a Reiki addict. I'm giving myself Reiki. I meditate. I like bubble baths, so I'll
Mhm.
go in and I'll take a bubble bath in a big chunk of rose quartz. I'll light some candles, some incense. While I'm in there, I'm usually talking with my guides, or always, for me, it's always spiritual. Like
Mhm.
everything I do, and it's just always been that way. Even cleaning my house, it's it's a spiritual thing. It's I'm cleaning, I'm cleansing, I'm lifting the vibration, I'm shifting the energy, I'm getting rid of the stagnant energy, I'm pulling in light. So even when I light a candle, inviting in all that is white light, holy and healing, that which loves us and has our highest and greatest good for intentions,
Right.
only and always. Every single thing I do is,
See, and that's what I love is it's who you are, not what you do.
yeah, it's really who I am.
You also have the really strong, and this is important to me and important to a lot of folk, but you're very connected with earth energy, with healing, with animals in that regard as well. So do you feel that the need to heal ourselves, to find that self-love, to find our sense of self is becoming more of a catalyst for what the earth needs right now as well?
It's exactly what the earth needs, and it's what it's always needed. And that's why I teach people how to ground heaven into earth
Mhm.
through
Could
us.
Yeah, could you explain that a little bit? Because that's a really cool way to put it.
Yeah. So we come here, and it's my humble opinion that when we come here, that's like our biggest job, grounding heaven into earth. We are divine beings. We come into an earthly body to have an earthly experience, but to bring that heaven, that spirit, through us and into the earth. So as our hands and our feet touch that earth, whatever we're radiating, we ground that into earth. And so many people aren't in touch with their own spirit. They're not in touch with their own spirit. And so there's a little bit of a disconnect, like the spirit is out here somewhere and people are just in 3D mode, right? Survival.
Mhm.
And especially with the earth shifting, there's been this, it's problematic that people aren't well grounded. They've taken the shoes off of our feet that would actually allow to get some of that earthing, and they've
Mhm.
insulated us with rubber and whatnot. As the light flows in, as we know it's coming in more and more, it's creating an ungrounded effect with people. So people are kind of all over the place. Their thoughts are scattered. They're in constant motion. They're feeling as though something's wrong, but they don't really understand what that is. If you do a proper spiritual grounding, you can pull your spirit back into body, right? Which makes you a really clear funnel so that
Mhm.
you're bringing that light down through you into you, which is healing for you, right? And then you're putting that into the earth, which helps heal the earth and lift the earth's vibration. But people haven't been taught these things. They don't know this stuff. We got so far removed from spirituality. That's not being taught to people.
Right. More you think about it, the more grounded you can become, the higher you can go. So if you
Yeah.
can really connect with that earth energy and feel it, and before we got on today, it's a little bit warmer today, and I took the dogs for a walk, and I haven't been able to walk as much because of the weather here in New England, and it just was peaceful and quiet, and I just stopped every once in a while, and I'd stop and I'd breathe, and I
Yeah.
just feel that, and I think we need, and it's not about being in a rural location or in a city or anything else. It's about the way you describe it is perfect, reconnecting with that grounding, with that earth energy, so that we can be more centered and grounded with ourselves.
Yeah.
Love the visualization of a funnel because
Yeah.
that's what you're doing is you're opening up your crown chakra and allowing it to come in and fill you. I honestly believe there's hope. I do. And so many people are buying into the negativity or the fear
Oh,
or the anger or the and they're not remembering who they are and what
right.
we're a species, we're part of it. And if
Yeah.
we step up, it's gonna help. I
Yeah.
really believe that.
One of the things that I do every night, and I'm passionate about this because I'm passionate about everything I do. uh, I'm passionate about this. I go down and I go to bed, and the first thing I do is fill myself up, right? So the first
Mhm.
thing I do is I do my spiritual grounding, and then I fill myself with healing and I do my meditation. And then I go into sending healing into the earth, and I send it all the way in, and I see that expanding and coming out of the earth and going out into the ethers. And when I say I see it going out, I don't mean I see it coming up out of the earth and then leaving the earth. I see the earth full of it, so much so that it expands outward and into those ethers. And it's just full of healing and love. And, to touch everything and everyone that soul is accepting of it. Because if somebody doesn't want healing,
Yeah,
that's
choice and free will.
right. I'm really, really passionate about that because I know the earth is accepting of it, even if
Yeah,
people aren't. So, and I know the animals are accepting of it too. And they're
right.
shifting with all of us right now as well. So they need that
They
extra
are.
healing. Yeah.
That's just a routine, a practice, but it's free. It's something that you can do wherever you are, if you're home, if you're traveling, if you're doing something else, but it's giving back as well. It's not
Yeah.
just taking, it's and I think the reciprocity of energy between us, the earth with heaven, it's all interconnected. And when we can realize that we're just part of that, and we can be almost a divining rod to bring
Yeah.
through that energy and help with the healing. The way you describe it is beautiful because it doesn't have to be a whole huge thing that everybody knows about or that you TikTok or you share in a blog. You just do it. You just do it as part of who you are on the planet.
Yeah. And now I'm teaching other people to do it and
Oh,
encouraging them
good.
to do it as well. That's one of the things. It's like if we can get as many people doing that as possible.
I know you offer readings, which are incredible. You have these beautiful products. You do Reiki. Do you do distance as well as in person for the Reiki, or do you
Yeah,
prefer?
I'm
Okay.
a Reiki master teacher, so I can, send it across the hall or across the world. And
Okay, good.
yeah, and I've actually been thinking about that. I had a long conversation with a person who gets distant feelings from me. And they said, why do you think more people aren't doing it? I was thinking, and I was like, I don't know. It's expensive to take care of yourself, and it's
Hmm.
hard. And we're living during this time of hyperinflation. And so I said, you know what? I think what I'm going to do, I don't know for how long I'm going to do it, but I think I'm going to just offer those distance healings for like $25.
Wow. Oh my goodness, that's generous.
I
That's
mean,
incredibly generous.
we can do it over Zoom or over Messenger, video call, or so that they get the feeling, and I'll walk them through the,
Yeah,
get them to relax and breathe slow, and we'll do that. And yeah, just because the world needs healing
right.
and I can do it.
Yeah.
So,
I love this because it's not bravado, it's confidence that you know that this is me, this is what I came here to do. Did it take you a while to step into that and trust it?
publicly, yes.
Okay.
Privately, no. Privately,
Okay.
I've always known it. Even as a little girl, I remember, funny story, I found a dead bird.
Mhm.
Okay. I was just very little. And so I sat down on the ground and I picked up this dead bird and I'm holding it in my hands and I'm wanting to bring it back to life. That was my
Mhm.
intention.
Right.
And my sister, who's 5 years older than me, walks over to me and she's like, "What are you doing? Put that dead bird down. That's nasty." And he's like, "What are you doing with that dead bird?" And I said, I want to bring it back to life. And
Mhm.
she said, "You can't bring that back to life. Put that down. That's got disease. You don't know what's on that. That's
Mhm.
dirty, disease." And she's like, "Why would you even think that?" And I said, "If Jesus can do it, then so can I."
Wow. For a
Yeah.
little kid, though, that's that purity of a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
But she kind of deflated me because she told me I couldn't. That was sort of deflate. It was just, she didn't mean to,
No.
but it did deflate me. And so then I didn't tell people that I wanted to heal things and that I was trying to heal things. Now, I'm not saying I could bring something back from the dead. Please don't get me. But
It didn't come across that way, no.
that drive has been there my whole life. My whole
And
life.
I think for many people who are trying to figure out, what am I supposed to do? I know I'm being called up for something more. I'm being drawn by spirit. I want to have something that's spiritually based. A lot of times, if you go back to your original little self or what you dreamt about as a kid, I see this a lot with people who want to be creators or writers or musicians. They had that seed planted when they were a little tiny person, and they either shut the door or said, no, I could never be that. And
Right.
from everything that you're saying is everybody can step up and do what they came here to do. You just have to accept yourself as is, where is, no warranty given or implied, like a good used car, and
Right.
say, I'm just gonna give it a whirl and see what happens. And we're
Yeah.
not, neither one of us are saying, quit your day job and don't worry, it's all magically gonna come into place.
Mhm.
It's more accept it in yourself and then start to daydream a little bit and say, what does this look like for me?
Yeah.
And I really do think if you're coming from a place of pure heart and intention, spirit will put out the stepping stones, the Hansel and Gretel breadcrumbs to help you.
I was just gonna say that it's like breadcrumbs. I have always taught people how to do a cleanse on their home. I mean, this is long before I even took any classes
Mhm.
for, to become a Reiki practitioner. And just always teaching people how to like lift the vibration of their home and stuff and telling people, this is the thing, Denise. We all have little healing centers in our hands, right? We
Mhm.
all do. In our hands and in our feet. That's how we ground that heaven into earth. And that's also how we pull that earth energy up through. So anybody can start self healing. Anybody can start doing that. Just go in and sit with yourself activate your hands, rub them together, clap them, whatever, get them activated, and start putting them on your heart,
Yeah.
and say, I love you to
Yeah.
yourself, to
Yeah.
yourself. I forgive you. I love you. You're worthy.
And that goes back to the Louise Hay mirror work, where she would say, look yourself in the eye in the mirror and say, I love you. And she said, for many people who have had abuse, neglect, trauma, loss, grief, insecurity, that's a really uncomfortable thing to do, and to just stick with it. But I love the fact of activating your hands and doing that at the same time, because we have such capacity that we don't tap into because we're afraid. We're afraid of being hurt, or we're afraid of being mistreated, or being made fun of even.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're a good example too, because you live in a rural part of a rural state.
Oh, 3D redneck. You betcha. You betcha. I'm the town flake.
Yeah. You didn't hide your light. You didn't hide who you are. You found a way to integrate that in and say, this is who I am. I'm still the same person I've always been. I'm still that little girl who was holding that little dead bird. The level of truth that you're living your life with, I think, is what so many people are striving for right now. Is think a lot about, this sounds judgy pie, and I don't mean it that way, but sometimes I'll speak with folks and I'll think, oh, it's so sad. They're wasting their turn. They're just wasting their turn on the planet. They're not realizing that we all have this unique blueprint that we come in with, that nobody gets to do it your way at all, which is pretty damn incredible when you think about it.
That in itself,
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. People can look into what their blueprint is by checking out their astrology and their numerology. And it's crazy, because when you do that, you get to see in front of you. And a lot of people like pictures, right? They need to have that picture or that book to read or whatever. And that's why tarot cards are so great, because it shows the story. But when you sit down and you do your astrology or you do your numerology, and you get to see what all of that means, and you understand that when you were on the other side and you were part of source energy and you were making up your mind to come in, that you chose all of these things to be who you are. And when you see what it says, you go, that's what I've always felt. Oh, and this is right. And this is right. Yes, that happened. And you can't make this stuff up.
No, you really can't.
And I think it helps people to define that, yes, it's okay to be who you are, when they start using a few of those tools to see that it's not just them being crazy or fluffy or fluky, but it's real. You came in here to do this.
Right.
So run with it. That was your goal. That's why you came. So grab the bull by the horns and do it. Because when we're on our deathbed, are we going to say, as we're saying goodbye to all the people that we love, if we have that opportunity, are we going to say, geez, I'm really glad that I papered down all of my dreams to make sure that my neighbors didn't think I was weird?
Yeah.
Or, I want to be able to say, I came in, I did what I wanted to do when I came in. I did it the best way that I could, in the best way that I can, and it's done.
Yeah. And that is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful description, because I ask myself, and I mention this to other people at times, that is this the thing that when you get to the end of the game and look back, you'll say, I wonder what would have happened if. And I think part of what we're trying to figure out as individuals and as a collective right now is, how do we make the most of being here? It's a privilege to be here.
Yeah.
We're not for many years I thought, oh, this is hell. It's not. It's all choices that we're making on how we perceive our experience here.
Yeah.
And you can always, always, always switch it up. You can always switch it up.
A way to do that. One of the things, I get people say to me all the time, positive affirmations don't work. And I say, I'm living proof that they are. Yeah. So I don't know who you're talking to. But so you do have to stay with it. And
Mhm.
you do have to connect a feeling with the words,
Right.
you know. And I think that's where most people, there's that disconnect because they are telling themselves the positive affirmations, but they're not having any feeling roll around inside of them. So
Right.
it's just you feeling like crap, saying words that don't match your vibration. So I always tell people first, I go over the whole hand on the heart thing and fill yourself with love. But kids are really cool in the way that they're
Mhm.
totally present.
Yes.
They can be really sad and feel like the whole world just kicked them. And they can go outside and they can start patting the dog and feel joy
Mhm.
as the tears start to wash away because they're present in that moment. So I always tell people go back to childhood, no matter how rough your life was. There was something in your life that brought you joy.
Right.
Just like in Peter Pan, it was that guy's marbles. He was looking
Mhm.
for his marbles. That was his happy place.
Yeah.
But go back and feel that joy that you felt. For me, it's animals. For me,
Mhm.
it's always been animals. That's my happy place. But go back and find that thing that brought you joy as a child when you were still so pure that you could be present, totally present, and fill yourself up with that feeling. And then give yourself the positive affirmations. Your brain will switch quicker when you've connected joy and love with the words that you're giving yourself. And you do have to
Right.
stick with it.
You do, and you have to start to really believe it, not just make it a rote statement that you say over and over again.
Right.
And because then that becomes, I'll just click my heels together 3 times. It doesn't,
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
putting the energy and the feeling behind it because you have
Yeah.
to have the emotion and the feeling in order to, it's almost like the spark to light the flame.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why it's so good when you're so depressed and you can barely say the words, I'm worthy, because you just don't feel like you are. To pull in that joy and pull in that feeling of love. You loved something at
Right.
some point. You've been joyful about something at some point. Try to fill yourself up with that and then start saying your words so that your mind starts connecting those words to those feelings
Right.
so that you can shift gears and start having those feelings and those words being married to how you feel about yourself. So it's a process, but you got to stick with it. It can be done. I did it
Yeah.
and I do it. I still do it because
Mhm.
we can fall into a trap really quick of not feeling worthy.
Right. Especially if you're working in modality, in industry, service based, whatever it might be, where you're constantly interacting with other people's energies and
Yeah.
auric fields. I think everything you're talking about is even more paramount because that porousness between my energy, your energy, someone else's, whether it's virtually or in person, that's intense. That's
Yeah.
really, really intense. So having things that you can reground yourself and reconnect and say, and sometimes it means, like for me, it means being a little silly, just
Yeah.
being silly
Yeah.
and realizing, I will just say, Denise, it's not that effing big a deal, let it go, or just like really lighten up.
Yeah.
And yes, the world is heavy, and yes, bad things happen. But in my heart, I really believe we have some modicum of control over how we choose to exist while we're here.
And I also feel like not only that, I believe I'm in complete control of my life. I
Mhm.
control my life. And I'm not willing to give that control of my own life up. So, I've had people say, you should do this, this, and this. And I say, no, I don't want to. And they
Mhm.
say, you're being a control freak. I'm entitled to be a control freak when it comes to my life. And people really need to learn to stand in their power, that it is okay to be a control freak with your life and how you live it, what's best for you. You're supposed to stand in your power and control your own life, not other people's lives, but
Right.
your own, right? So in this day and age, standing in your power, yes, standing strong in your convictions about what's important to you and controlling your life. You do that and you look around, you see a million blessings everywhere. They're everywhere. In
Mhm.
a world that's heavy, there's so much to be grateful for. And, unfortunately, we live on a planet right now where there's still a lot of duality, and we came in for that, right? We came
Right.
in for that duality. That teaches us. We gain compassion through that duality. There's so much that duality can bring us. So when
Mhm.
we're looking at the worst thing that's happened to us or the worst thing that we're feeling right now, we can think to ourselves, but what's the blessing in it?
Right.
What did I gain from that?
And it allows you to set reasonable boundaries for yourself so that you're not being trampled or you're not being taken advantage of.
Right. Right. And when you vibrate in that frequency of knowing that you're worthy and
Mhm.
standing in your power and stepping into your true self, it's amazing how the frequencies around you shift and change. So you start drawing in other people. You get rid of the narcissists. They don't find you as fun because they can't manipulate you and wipe their feet on your back.
Mhm.
So the narcissists kind of fall away. The users fall away because they see that you've got good boundaries and they
Mhm.
see that they're not going to pull one over on you. So they just kind of go out to the wayside. And then you start pulling in people that respect themselves and know how to give respect because they respect themselves and they don't want to use you and abuse you and just take from you. You start drawing in other givers
Right.
and
Right. And there's
then you
balance.
yeah, the balance and the equal exchange of energy. But
Mm.
you have to feel good about yourself first. That's why I say heal yourself and heal the world. Because the other cool thing about that is that your vibrational frequency changes with that. And everywhere you go, you're touching people with your energy. So it's touching and it's contagious.
Mhm.
And if they only catch it for a second, it's a seed that's planted. And the people directly involved in your life every day, your children, your parents, your friends, your siblings, your people at work, they're exposed to your vibration every day. And if you're vibrating in a place of self-love, self-respect, standing in your power, shining your light, they start to kind of go through this transition too, just from
Right.
being around you.
It causes a ripple effect.
It does. It
Yeah.
really does.
You are absolutely amazing, Lori. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Your conviction for what you do and your connection and why you do it is so beautiful. So thank you. So where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook at Sacred Products of Light. They can find me on YouTube under Lorri McCafferty, Reiki Master Teacher. They can email me and they
Mhm.
can reach me by phone. And I put those, I gave you, I gave you
Okay.
the information.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yes.
they can find me. I don't have a website. I'm not interested in doing a website right now.
See, and that comes back to I don't have to, you can't make me. And I
Yeah.
love that.
Everybody keeps saying you need a website, you need. And I'm like, I just don't feel like I do.
That is beautiful in itself of you're happy, you're content, you have this beautiful business, you're still reaching people with healings. You're not saying, oh, marketing, I have to do this, I have to TikTok, I have to do that. Because I think we have so many wonderful, incredible people that don't want to do it that way, but they still want to reach out and help people. And I
Yeah.
think you're the perfect example of you can do it your way and it's still going to work. You're still going to find the people, they're going to find you.
Yeah. All of that social media stuff just doesn't resonate with me. I don't like it. It
Mhm.
also takes important time away from the things that I consider important.
Right.
So if I'm trying to do TikToks and I'm trying to do, I don't even know all the things out there because I don't pay attention. I don't want to do them all. But
Right.
if I was trying to do all of these different platforms, and I think there are many, when would I have time to create? When would I have time to sit down and do a reading with somebody? When would I have time to sit down and do a healing with somebody? When would I have time for me? Because at
Right.
the end of the day, when I've created, when I've talked to people about what they need, when I've shipped out products, when I've done readings, when I've done this or that, I need to fill my own cup so that I'm full for the next day so that I can overflow into the universe and do what it is that I'm here doing. But I have to keep my cup full.
Right. That's
So
beautiful. That is so beautiful. And thank you so, so much for doing this with me. And again,
thank
you
you.
can find Lorri on Facebook at Sacred Products of Light. And I will put this in the show notes, Lorri McCafferty. She's a Reiki master healer, teacher, and an amazing intuitive. So remember, there's something in you to share with the world. Find a way to express yourself because we need you right now. Take care.
We definitely need people right now.